Yeah, you're welcome.
Martin, thank you very much for the prayer. And I'm going to record the session completely from start to finish so that when the whole thing is done, I could be able to send you guys the link to the recorded session, and you guys can be able to replay the session if you want, to be able to maybe refresh your memory on some of the very important things that we're going to discuss today. And just like I had said earlier, I said we're going to begin with drainology, because remember, for every course we have to start with drainology, right? And that's because we believe that mindset is very important for every study program. Until you have the right mindset, you cannot be able to develop the right study approach that will enable you to improve on your results that you desire to have. And so we're going to begin with the mindset. And you know that there are two kinds of mindset. There's one person who sits on one end and thinks that life is so difficult, and no matter what you do, you cannot achieve, like he cannot stretch himself, like life no balance. You understand, right? So you must be able to grow from that. So that there's a fixed mindset, and then there is the growth mindset. We expect that every student in this class should have a dominant level of the growth mindset, a dominant proportion of the growth mindset, because that's the kind of mindset that makes you believe that everything is possible. No matter the challenges, no matter the difficulties you're facing, you just have to believe that it's possible. And if you can be able to put in a little more effort, then you can be able to make it work. And so we expect that in this session, you'll be able to put in your best in order to be able to get the best, because life gives you what you put in. If you can put it in, then you can get it out. If you can be able to put in hard work, then you can be able to get out success. If you can be able to put in devotion, then you can be able to get out success. If you can be able to put in discipline, then you can be able to get out success. And so we're going to comment effectively with our session on design and technology. And like I said earlier, you must have a growth mindset to be able to do this, because there are going to be some concepts that might not be easy for you to grab, but it takes devotion to be able to grab those things that seem very difficult. And I expect that you people are going to be able to put in that devotion for us to be able to get the best out of this. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
It feels good to know. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to proceed right away. I'm going to try to share my screen so that people can be able to see. So that you all can be able to see some of the some designs that we will be able to do progressively. But we're not going to touch to this extent in this module. So it takes a work in progress for you to be able to do this, because most of the designs we're going to be looking at are going to be shared from my screen. So they are computer aided designs, and it takes a little more advanced practice to be able to get to that level. But however, I'm going to be able to share with you in this session some finished designs that I've been able to do. And then from there, we're going to look at all the modules that are going to enable us to effectively reach that mark. And so I'm sharing my screen now. And just to have a view of this, this is actually a small structure I handled last year. A very small structure, just a ground floor plus 2 other stories. Can you see that clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is just a ground floor and 2 other let me see.
This is almost like the one that I sent on Google Classroom last year. To link the points.
Okay, so if you can see clearly, you realize, you see it moving, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you realize that this is a very small structure. It's a ground floor plus 2 other stories on it, and then you see the roof there. And from this design, it's easy to identify what this is. What's this? Where my mouse is currently?
The window.
The window.
Exactly, that's the window. And what do you see here? What's this?
Pillar.
Pillar.
Excellent, that's great. And what's this? This one? This one with the color?
The gate.
Which gate?
No, the balcony.
Yeah, the balcony. So those are balusters, okay? Balusters. Those are balusters, like metallic balusters, like metallic protectors to be able to stop someone from going out of the veranda from
Yes.
upstairs. So then you realize that you have other shapes here. You have an arch, and you see these shapes here, right?
Yes, sir.
And you see this shape here, right?
Yes, sir.
1 minute, please. Let me just be able to just look at the design and tell me what you can appreciate from the design.
To the workshop. Not really. Somebody said,
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah. So could anybody appreciate anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me know what that is.
The the design of the windows beside the door. The windows directly beside the door.
Okay. You mean this? You mean this window?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's up with the design of that window that makes you want to talk about it? What's up with it?
Like is say I'm maybe seeing where the shapes like I can see it's
You can see.
one is the shapes are equal. One shape is just one, it's not multiple.
You mean this one?
Yes, somebody can easily draw it because it's not mixed
Okay.
up.
All right. So I'm going to use this design to be able to explain some very basic things to you today. And the first thing I want you to understand from this design is that this is not just a design, but a lot of critical thinking has been put into place to be able to make this design look the way it is. Because this is actually a 2D design. This what we have here is actually a two-dimensional design. You remember in our earlier sessions we had done 2D designs, right?
Yes, sir.
And we did 3D designs, right?
Yes, sir.
So we said 2D designs are designs that are represented on two axes, like you have just an X and the Y axis, while 3D designs are represented on three axes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so those are designs in space. And so you realize here that for this window, as you see, can you see the window?
Yes, sir.
So if you look clearly or keenly to this window, you realize that there is a dark spot here. Can you see the dark spot? Very dark and
Yes, sir.
okay. What do you think that is? What do you think that is?
I don't know.
What? Okay, so that is the reflection of light on that window. That actually, it shows the direction of the sun, the direction that the sun is touching that house. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So it shows that the sun is coming from this side. The sun is coming like this. You see the direction where my mouse is going?
Yes,
sir.
The sun is coming from this side, going that way. And so that's why it forms the shadow inward into the house. The shadow falls into the house. So this is just a shadow showing the direction of the sun that is reflected upon that house. And since this is a glass material, then the sun is represented in that manner. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Good. And it shows like this because the sun is falling from up. You know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Verda, in your village, the sun come from down. Anyways, that was just
Maybe
for
I
fun.
don't know.
That was, you've never gone to your village?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in your mind. Holland try.
Okay.
Okay, so you realize that the sun falls from up, and that's why it gives that representation on the glass window. And it makes it look like that with the dark spot represented there. And you have several other shapes which we have dealt with in previous sessions. So there are a lot of things to consider when doing your design. And it's not just about what you think, but it's about what you think plus how nature affects what you think for you to be able to represent it effectively and to be able to get the best out of what you want to do. So are we good on that?
Yes,
So
sir.
I have a question.
Okay, you're welcome with the question there.
What's the shape of the pillar?
The shape of this pillar.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you're looking at the pillar on this two-dimensional view, you realize that the pillar is made up of rectangular shapes. You notice that, right? Let me zoom.
Yes.
Let me zoom out a little. You realize that this is the pillar, right?
Yes, sir.
And it is made up of rectangular shapes. Can you see those rectangles that make up the pillar?
Yes, sir.
And since it is but in real life, it is a circular pillar.
Yes, sir.
But when you're looking at it on a two-dimensional view, you can only see the outward lines of the pillar. And so it makes it look like a rectangular shape. The same with the pillar caps. Can you see these pillar caps? What is on the top
Yes,
of the pillar?
sir.
And at the, so you see the pillar cap and the pillar footer. This is the pillar footer. This is the pillar cap up here. So you realize that the pillar cap is also looks like a rectangular shape on it. The pillar footer also looks like a rectangular shape on it. But that rectangular shape is because you're looking at it on a straight line and you're looking at it on a plane, assuming that you're looking at a simple sheet of paper. That's why it is represented like that. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's why it's represented like that. And one thing you'd also note is the fact that can you see this wall made of brick? Can you see the wall made of brick just above the pillar?
Yes, sir.
So you notice that that wall is falling directly at the center of the pillar. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Can you see that?
Yes.
It's falling
Yes, sir.
directly at the center of the pillar. Because if you move that wall from the center of the pillar to maybe one of the edges of the pillar, then you realize that the energy, the force that is transmitted through that wall due to the weight of the wall, it would affect the stability of the pillar. And if the stability of one of the pillars are affected, then the stability of the entire house is affected. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You remember the story of Samson in the Bible, right?
Yes,
How
sir.
he said that he should put his hands on the pillars that hold the building so that he can
Yes.
shift the pillars. And this is basically what Samson wanted to do. He wanted to move the pillars so that the wall should be on a different position on the pillar so that the pillar will no more be stable. And if the pillar is not stable, then this pillar falls on this one, it affects this one falls on this one and affects it. This one falls on this one and affects it. And you realize that the whole thing goes down like Verda's jaw.
Yeah, Joe.
So you understand how it works, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so yeah, basically that's how it looks. And so you realize that throughout design, we're just basically playing with different kinds of shapes. And it's until you are able to master how these different shapes come together, then you cannot be able to effectively master how designs function. So it's these different shapes that come together, they join in different ways, and forces move through them in different ways to ensure the stability of the structures that we live in. And that's why design is not an isolated subject. You have to be able to use design as well as other subjects. You see that you're studying forces in design. You study forces under physics, right?
Yes, sir.
But it is also applied in design and technology. You study the different kinds of materials that can be used in design. Materials are a product of the combination of several elements. When two or more elements come together, they form a material. Or even a single element can form a material. But most of the materials we have around are a combination of two or more elements. You realize that when they come together, they form a material. And once you can be able to look at that material keenly, then you can be able to have what we have here, and you can be able to appreciate your design better. So it is important to be able to have an excellent mastery in all the other subjects. And you realize that there's a lot of calculations that are going on here, because I could not just put the pillars where I feel that pillars should be. There must be a perfect spot where you know that if you put the pillar there, it will be able to master most of the load that is generated by the structure. So if you can be able to effectively master all of those, then you're on a good footing to be able to improve on your design ability and to be able to deliver an excellent design. I think that is our goal, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So does any other person have a question to ask? Susan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sir, take it back to the smaller view. Let's see.
Okay. Is it Cecile or Celine?
Cecile.
Cecile, are you understanding everything?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm taking it to the smaller view, okay? So here we are with the structure. So this is just the front facade. This is the front part of the house. And I have all the other views, just that I don't want to stress opening the software to look at that. Yes.
I want to ask, when we want to start counting for from the floors, you start the second, let me say the build house 2 floors now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a 2-floor structure because this one is not counted. This is floor 0. Then this is floor 1 and now floor 2. Yeah. So you have a ground floor plus 2. So this is the ground floor, and then you have floor 1 and then floor 2. So it's called a G plus 2. So whenever you see a structure like that, if it's 20 floors, then it's a G plus 19. Okay. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Good. So you don't start counting this one. This is floor 0, floor 1, floor 2. So it's called a G plus 2.
Yes, sir.
G means ground floor plus 2 floors. So G plus 2. G plus 2 floor structure. Are we clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then that's great. Good to know. So I think we can proceed. And does anybody have any question in that regard before I could move on?
No, sir.
Okay. If there's no question, then Susan, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then I'm going to move on to share the to show the modules that we're going to be handling in this semester, for this term. So I want you to understand and note that Form 1 modules, as a matter of fact, design and technology is a very, very small subject. As a matter of fact, design and technology is taught in 1 year throughout the university, within 3 months. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in order to effectively understand design and technology, we have been able to break it down progressively so that you can be able to do it for like a 4 to 5 year course in the secondary school. And so what you understand is that what you did in Form 1 is the same thing. I mean, the same thing is now just improved in application as what you do in Form 3. But there'll be a few other things that will be added. And then in Form 4 now, would introduce some of the things that you did when you were in Form 2. Because the way the secondary school curriculum works is such that what you do in Form 1 and 2 are an introduction to what you do from Form 3 to Form 5. Are we together?
Yeah.
Good. So what we did in Form 1 would be reintroduced to you in Form 3 so that you can have a more excellent appreciation to it. I know in Form 1, many of you were still urinating on the bed. You were coming to school. There were many things that were disturbing you, all those kind of things. So we are going to take it over again now that you are in Form 3, all what you did in Form 1, and we're going to do it more intentionally. We're going to do it more practically. We're going to do it more deeply. So in Form 1, we're just giving people introductions. Now we're expecting people to research and be able to come with more pertinent questions, and let's have an intellectual discussion on some of those very, very critical things. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Good. And then what you did in Form 2 will be reintroduced in Form 4. So I've already designed the modules. So this is the module for Form 1 and 3. And then there is another module for Form 2 and Form 4. Form 5 is going to be major on revisions. To be able to, is revision and application, Form 5. Therefore, Form 1 and 3, the same module. Form 2 and Form 4, the same module. The difference in it will just be in terms of application, in terms of practicals, and then in terms of like the details that we're going to go into all those things. So I trust that it's going to be an exciting session. We're going to have 14 modules, only 14. And the first module is going to be on an introduction to technology, which you already know most of the things on that. And then introduction to design, the fundamental concepts of design and technology, design instruments and aids, introduction to shapes, basic shapes, application of basic shapes, design practice, complex shapes, application of complex shapes, design practice for complex shapes, and then the design craft. And next, we're going to have portfolio orientation and then the portfolio practice. That's all what we're going to have for design and technology for Form 3. And I trust that it's going to be an exciting session, mostly with Cecile with her amazing smile.
Okay, thank you, baby.
Thank you.
Okay, it's not Cecile that has the amazing smile. It's Susan that has the amazing smile. Okay. Since Susan is blushing, then it's not Susan, it's Cecile. Cecile is the one with the amazing smile. Yeah, her smile is coming out now. Who told people it's better to have the amazing smile? Yeah? Martin, allow them to be fooling themselves. We're the ones that have the amazing smile. It's Martin and myself that have the most amazing smile. So it's... Okay, guys, so that was fun, and that was it for our session of today. So I'm Mbele Marlon Anyeme, fondly called Dr. Catalyst, and a civil and environmental engineer graduate, and also a student with a master's degree program on engineering management. And it's going to be fun having you guys. I'm also founder and CEO of Ego Mind, where our focus is on human potential. Our vision is to be able to incite a positive mentality in order to effect a positive reality. It's a pleasure for me to serve with MWNPHS Boya. And there's no better privilege for me than to be able to have this intellectual discourse with you guys. Have a nice day. Does anybody want to tell us something?
Portfolio practice.
And that was it for our session of today. So I would like to know you guys. I would like to know everybody who is present for our session today. So you're going to introduce yourselves the way I introduced myself. The first is going to be Cecile. Cecile, let's hear from you.
Last time the internet.
Hello, Cecile.
Where you say you are connected.
Yes, Cecile, introduce yourself. Like I introduced myself, I want everyone to introduce him or herself. We're beginning from Cecile, after Cecile, Velda, after Velda, Susan, after Susan, Grammatino. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a loud round of applause, could we welcome Miss Cecile to introduce herself with a loud clap? Let's go, guys. Okay, Cecile, let's hear from you. Introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Nchama Cecile Etunzi.
My name is Komema.
Okay, that's amazing. What are you passionate about?
What are you passionate about? You, Cecile.
She's passionate about her tie.
What are you passionate about? You keep hearing your own thing. She don't know.
Okay, Velda, let's hear from you. You're next. Let's go.
Money.
Yes, sir.
Yes, tell us about yourself.
You just call my name. Why you? My name is Velda.
You have not called the last one.
Velda.
Call the last name. What are you passionate about?
Singing and dancing.
Singing and dancing and shaking.
Yes.
Amazing you, that's good. Okay, next let's hear from Susan. Susan, let's hear from you.
My name is Bikomo Suzy.
Yeah, you lay pupu your chest.
You're passionate about
Yes, and what are you passionate
About
about, Susan?
About
Singing.
it.
I like to be in silence.
Singing.
Like the
Singing.
voice.
Tongue.
I don't know.
That she don't know.
Really, you don't know? You don't know what you are passionate about?
That country children's.
Okay, let's hear from you, Miss Martin. Well, so tell us about yourself. Briefly, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Kome Martin, and I love dancing and writing.
You specify the type of dance you like. You like dancing, Maria's dance.
Come Martin likes dancing the Malay. It's true.
So is that Maria's?
That?
Is that Maria's music over there?
You want to play Malian?
Yes.
You want to dance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to play Malian next class, okay?
Next class.
Yes, sir.
The next class.
Yeah. Well, we are in our last week of summer, and winter will be commencing next month. So by the end of this month, winter will start, and it's going to be really cold. So we'll do Malian that time when places are really cold, so that we'll be able to get ourselves warm.
So where are you?
Dad,
Which country?
Where are you?
I'm in the village.
Hey!
Where are you?
That should be, if you're in the village, that table behind you should be made up of bamboo.
Yeah, it's made up of bamboo actually.
Ooh.